what's going on, everybody? We're gonna talk about that Bronco right there under the covers. I know it's been a while since I posted a video on my channel regarding this Bronco. I have like 21 episodes of me building this Bronco, and today we're gonna talk about it being completed and done and what I've done to it this far. I think the last video that I posted was a short video of it starting and leaving my driveway. I don't believe the bumpers are even in it. Interior is not even done, but I wanted to test drive it around the block. But now it's complete. So let's talk about how long it took me, how much money did it cost me, and then of course those priceless things like my skill, time that I put in it, and then what additional things I had to do to get it running properly on the road, registered, safetied, and ready to go. So it's going to be exciting. This is the last episode on this Bronco. The rest of the other things I'm just going to talk about miscellaneous, right? So let's do it. First day on the road, barely done. Oh, that sounds good. If you've been in this channel before, you know what I do here. It's called Stylish Grease Monkey, meaning I'm a mechanic, or at heart, it's my passion to work on cars, build cars, such as this Bronco right here. And also, I like to take pleasure in sporting heritage clothing, you know what I mean? So but we're not going to talk about style today. We're going to talk about this Bronco again, right? I want to get it out of the way that the most expensive thing on this Bronco when you're building something like this is your time, your skill. Those are the things that I can't put a price on, because it took me a long time, a lot of hours, 7 days a week, sometimes working 12 to 14 hours, and refurbishing, rebuilding, welding, whatever have you that I need to do to get this Bronco back on the road, restored somewhat, resto-mod, I guess if you would say, and in good shape, right? Those are the things you can't pay, because if you pay someone to build something like this, it will take a long time, it will take a lot of hours, and it will take a lot of money, guys. All the parts that goes in there, either I spend money to buy it, buy the rebuilding materials to rebuild it, buy the materials, buy the gas out of my own pocket. And those are the things that it's kind of hard to keep track of because of the fact that some of the parts that I use I already have, right? But I wanted to rebuild it, so that's why it does cost a lot of money. And I totally understand builders like they're not sponsoring me, I don't know who they are, but I see them all the time, like classic Ford Broncos, vintage Broncos, Velocity Restorations, Icon. Their Broncos cost over $100,000 because I get it. I get the amount of work that's put into it. I get the amount of work and passion to get it back out on the road in today's standards when it comes to power and safety, and that's why it costs a lot, costs that much amount of money. Personally, for me, the cost of this Bronco, I don't really care, and I didn't keep track of it, but it's hovering around $15,000 to $20,000. That's the raw parts that I paid to buy things such as the A-pillar, the roll cage, the gas, pieces of metal that I bought, tools, and then when it comes to the drivetrain, I rebuilt the engine transfer case, the transmission, and those cost money, obviously, for the rebuild kit to buy those things, the fluid and things like that. I'm just giving you a little idea on what it cost to build something like this from a junkyard Bronco and another Bronco that's half a Bronco put it all together, and then having a Bronco on the road that runs super good, super straight, super fast, starts right up, no issues at all, no leaks, you know, things like that, right? And so around $15,000-$20,000. Now again, I mentioned prior to that, what I can't put an amount on is the time that I put into it, the passion that I put into it, and my skills that I put into it. So maybe combined is gonna be a lot more than that if you don't do any of these things yourself. It looks nice. It is on the road, but is it totally done? I can tell you that having an old vehicle, no matter what you do to get it completed and done, it's never done, guys. You're always gonna have to be tinkering with it. Why is that? Because it is not a it's not a current vehicle. I don't know what the correlation is, but anyways, I'm not gonna talk about that. I'm just saying is that if you have an old vehicle, you better be ready to tinker with it at times, right? Originally, when this Bronco was done and I built it, I had in mind was the Holley carburetor that was originally on the 351. That when I bought it, I rebuilt the Holley carburetor. About a week after, driving it around, it gave me a lot of problems. I just couldn't get to the fact that it would stumble and die sometimes, depending on the elevation and where I'm at. It's just very finicky. Carburetors are finicky like that. I have luck with some carburetors like Weber, Carter, maybe Rochester, Edelbrock. When it comes to Holley carburetor, in my mind, I think it's too big for that kind of application, and it's more designed for like strip drag race or something like that, right? I am not an expert on carburetor. I'm not taking any sides on carburetor. I've used them before. Good to go, right? So I decided that I would upgrade it to a Holley Sniper because of the dependability, reliability of a system like that. So I bought a kit to put in the truck, and of course, as expected, an EFI system is much more reliable. So now it starts right up, doesn't have any hesitation, and it still requires your inputs. It still requires a continuous honing into tuning it and things like that, right? So it's nothing like you can just slap on there and expect it to work properly. There is a small percentage of people that do that, and they do just work right out of the box, no issues, drive it for thousands of miles, no issues. But I'm not that kind of guy, right? I'm a kind of guy in which I like to tinker with my the electronics and making sure that I really hone into the fuel air mixture, temperature, whatever the O2 sensor reads and things like that, to make it run as optimal as possible. So the Holley Sniper that's in it right now runs really well. I've taken it all around. I've probably put about maybe 500 miles into this system at this point, all around the island, and she runs really good, no complaints. And if it asks me, I'll do it again. And the best thing about Holley Sniper, again, I'm not sponsored by Holley, the best thing about it is upgradable, right? So far now I'm using the EFI portion, the electronic fuel injection portion. I'm not even using the system's ability to control timing, system's ability to control dwell, all of those other things that you can upgrade later if you want to. And then of course, if you want to do a power adder on your motor, Holley has a program for that as well that you can tune to it, and it'll adjust its own thing. It's a self-learning system. I love it. If I have to recommend it, sure, definitely, you know what I mean? But if I wanted to compare that to something like a stock TBI setup on General Motors, which they put a lot of research and development on, that's probably more superior, as well as what I'm using on my red Bronco, which is the 5.0 high output motor system and electronics and ECU that comes with it, which is a lot more reliable, right? I put on maybe 200,000 miles on one of those before with no issues, very minimal issues, replacement in some of the sensors that goes bad, the high mileage like that, right? So that's where I'm at with the Holley Sniper. It's an additional cost to the project, but it's well worth it. Let's talk paint and body work. So if you don't do paint, well, first of all, if you don't do panel work and panel changes, and if you don't weld, you don't grind, you don't do any of these things to prep for body work and paint, that's where the cost lies, right? I have a friend right now that's trying to get his truck painted, and a base paint is going to cost him $10,000. Now, $10,000 is a lot of money for someone that just want to get a car painted, and the paint shop's not even going to do any body work or panel changes, right? They're going to do a bondo work, straighten it out, spray it, and be done with it. I can tell you that probably costs the most on projects when you're trying to build something that looks nice and running on the road, right? This right here is painted in-house. All the body panels, as you see or you saw on my videos, previous videos, I made it. I did it myself. My wife is the painter in this team of ours, and she painted it. Is it a perfect paint job? I can tell you from the standard of being a perfect guy. No, just kidding. Standard, it's not a perfect paint job, but because in our minds, it's a daily driver. It's something that we want to take out anytime, and we're not afraid to scratch it. If you wanted to go four-wheeling with it, scratch it, and then come home and repaint it again. And that is the reason why I save a lot of money on something like this, because we do all of that in-house, right? I don't think I've had to send a part of it outside to be refurbished or to be rebuilt or to be worked on. Everything was done in-house. Now, going back to the drivetrain real quick, I know I rebuilt the motor, but more like refreshed the motor, right? But before I took it out, if you saw my video, I did a compression test on this to read what's the internally going on with this motor, and it had about 150 psi on each of the compression tests, so it passed with flying colors, and I'm good with that, right? That's how I read motors. Now, if it failed the compression test, then I will probably get the heads rebuilt, get the block rebuilt, and I'll send that out, of course, out to the machine shop so they can do all the right tolerances, all of the right things to do that I can't do here without the equipment to do it. If I have the equipment to do it here, I will do it in-house. So does it get a lot of attention? Well, first of all, I built it not to get attention, but I build something like this because this is my passion, right? I like seeing old vehicles, in this example, in the verge of getting crushed in the junkyard, taking it back and then working on it and getting it back on the road. Yes, it does get a lot of attention because it's a 1974 Bronco. All Broncos from 66 to 77, there's a hot market for it right now, so it is definitely both young and old. Lots of attention, guys, and I'm glad that we build something like this. Now, does it look different from my red one? Of course it does, because my goals in building it is to put it back to stock as much as possible, for it being friendly to drive, or usable for my wife, which I built it for, right? So automatic transmission, lower, a little bit, a lot more lower than my red one, and not too aggressive, so you can jump in it, cruise the boulevard, cruise downtown, cruise to the beach, whatever have you, with the perfect setup of it having just a bikini top, and the wind blowing in your face. And that is the purpose of it here, and the reason why I built it. My other Bronco, I built it for me because I wanted to have a badass Bronco that can do anything and everything and still drive on the street. It is a lot higher, obviously, and I talked about that. So if you want to see the video of it, just go back to my channel, look for my 1971 Bronco, and that's where I got it. That's where I'm running that. So anyways, it does command a lot of attention, but I appreciate that and I respect that. I respect all kinds of vehicles. As you can see, I'm sitting on my VW van here. This one is a 1974 as well, I think, or 73, 1974 van, and I love it. I love VWs. I love all kinds of old cars, and if I can keep all of them, I will. But of course, you know, realistically I can't, right? I am not a rich person. That's why I build things in-house, build nice things in-house. Now if someone has to comes and offers me the right amount of money for this project, maybe I'll let it go. But in the meantime, I'm not going to let it go, right? Broncos for me are my thing. I have Jeeps, I have all kinds of other projects that I'm willing to sell, but not the Broncos, because the Broncos are a lot harder to find. And you know, when I was growing up, I've always wanted to have a Bronco, and the first Bronco I had, I bought with my wife for $3,500 running. And you can't find that anymore, right? I've long since sold that Bronco to build my blue Bronco 71 that's also is down and rusty now, because it's been about 17 years, 20 years since I've had that Bronco built. But now I'm able to build other Broncos, so I will not let it go. That's not, you know, that's just me, right? You know, I have friends that always hit me up and wanting to trade my Broncos for their projects, or wanting to buy my Broncos, but it's just, I don't think there's a money amount that will meet it right now. I don't need the money, first of all. I need the Broncos, right? To keep me sane as my project. I have another one back there. It's going to be a hard top. I'm planning on keeping track of that as well and posting the build in my channel. You know what I wish, guys? I just wish there's many more people watching things like this, because I'm sharing part of history, right? I'm sharing part of history. Ford Broncos are American trucks or SUVs that were built back in the days, 50 years ago, 50 plus years ago, some of them. And it is so amazing to see it on the street. You know, part of history still on the streets, running around, doing its business, and sometimes comparable to these newer cars on the road. So I think that's my purpose in life. You know, after a long stint in the military, I am glad that I'm able to do this, and it's also helping me with my mental state and keeping me calm, keeping me sane, if you would say, you know, along with the VA's help. Obviously, I appreciate that, and keeping me alive, right? Keeping me going. So I'll keep it going. You keep on watching my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know every time I upload a video. I will try to get the videos going again here soon, now that I've taken a significant amount of break. I have other things to do. I have other, you know, health things to do. I have other style things to do, and building more projects. So that's where I'm at. I hope you like this video, recent update on that project, 1974, not so cheap build, and that's where I'm at with the cost and everything else going on. Anyways, I'm going to enjoy this day. I'm going to enjoy the Bronco, cruise around some more. I'm going to have to pull that Jeep out of there and start it, and hopefully video it. You have a great week. Aloha, and I'll talk to you later. 1987 Jeep CJ, in the process of taking it apart so we can rebuild it. Before I parked it there, I put the LS 5.3 motor already, so it's dirty. I don't want to show it to you because it is not it's not a pretty motor yet, but you can probably see parts of it. I even have the headers in there already. 68LE or something like that transmission, attached to a Dana 300 T case. 6L80E, that's the one. I can't wait. It's gonna be a quick build, guys.